So where in the US were you born? How and what was the story?
I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1985. And then I moved around a lot, and I really don't know much about my life before I was 2 years old. My dad went to work on roller coasters in Venezuela, and my mom traveled with the carnival.
Wow.
So I was in a trailer traveling in the carnival. And it was not very nice. I'm not going to lie. I got taken away. My brother didn't survive.
Whoa.
So my dad came from Venezuela, got me, took me to his hometown in Detroit, and that's where I grew up.
So when you say you move around with your mum in the carnival, what's the situation there then? Is that...
She ran rides in the carnival.
Right.
Like proper carnies that just
almost
traveled the country.
Yeah, like gypsies, like the gypsies do here.
Yeah, but like fair
Right,
rides. Yeah, my dad built roller coasters. That's how they met. She did the fair rides and traveled around. She eventually settled in New Mexico and went to hairdressing school, I think.
Right.
I haven't talked to her since I was 4.
Really?
I think. No, I called her once. When I graduated high school.
So you're removed from your mum?
Yeah, absolutely.
At 4?
No, I was removed at 2.5.
2.5?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the circumstances surrounding that then? Is it just she's not there
hid
for you?
The abuse that was going on to me and my brother, particularly my brother. And he was abused very badly by her boyfriend. And he was murdered. And she hid it. So she went to prison, and that's when I went into the foster care system.
Went to prison? Oh, my God.
I know you find that very shocking, and people wonder why I'm so calm sometimes about it. And it's because when you've lived with it your entire life, you've processed it, you've dealt with it, it's not a shock to you anymore. I'm 35. That's a good, long time to live with something.
Yeah, and you're a mother yourself now. But as I mentioned there, for me, my fascination with childhood and these things that we take for granted, just security, safety, love, we don't have to have all the money in the world, but if we're together, if we want to be together, if we enjoy one another, to be in a situation like that. I mean, do you have memories of your mum?
No.
Was your mum maternal in any way?
I have no idea. I can't remember her. I can remember my brother, Ricky, and we were in a bad neighborhood, and somebody broke in one time, and he hid me under a table. And my dad was visiting, so that's all I can really remember. But I was only 2.5.
So would your brother have been older than you then?
He was 4 when I was 2. Birthday was 82.
Okay.
1981.
And he was murdered?
He was, yeah. Yeah, he was beaten to death.
Jesus, man. And were you around at that point?
I was. No one has ever told me where I was, what happened to me. I looked it all up in news articles. I found the news articles from New Mexico where it happened, and it said it was the worst case of child abuse in 20 years.
And that's your mother's boyfriend?
He was babysitting us while she went to school.
Oh, man. And you've never really been able to talk to your mum about it, or you haven't wanted to, or it's just...
I did when I was 18. So the first thing I did when I was 18 was I bought a bus ticket to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee, where I was born, where my great-grandmother was in a nursing home, and I went and spent 2 weeks in the nursing home with her. Mm-hmm. I went and met my grandparents because they tried to kidnap me during the court hearing for my dad to get custody, apparently, and then they never spoke to me again after that. So this is my maternal grandparents. Mm. They were the strangest people I ever met.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why? What, just principles or traditions or just the way of seeing the world?
I mean, I was 18 and I sat in this chair across the room from what are meant to be my grandparents.
Your family, yeah.
And they're all the way across the room. And they don't move the whole time. And I have no idea what to say to them. And it was the most awkward experience of my life. And they said, oh, you can come for the summer next year if you want. Thanks for visiting us. And I was like, okay, that cleared up nothing for me.
So like really formal and...
Really formal, really no intimacy whatsoever, no love, no connection.
So you didn't get to dig into kind of...
I did. I asked the deep questions. I asked the really deep questions, like the ones that I wanted to know at the time were, why didn't you ever come visit me? And it was, we weren't sure if you wanted us to, or if your family wanted us to. Adults in those situations overcomplicate them so much for the children. In divorce situations, trauma situations, really the kid just wants to know the truth, A, and see the people that were involved and hear both sides.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen for me. So there were always a lot of questions. So I went out to find the answers when I was 18. I visited my brother's grave for the first time in my life. And that was like a confirmation of his death. I don't remember the funeral. I don't remember grieving.
No.
So I got to go do that, go put flowers on his grave and spend time with my great-grandmother that I loved dearly, that I used to play rummy with as a kid. So that was quite a great experience at a very young age. And I earned all the money myself, working at an Indian restaurant as a waitress, serving.
So you could save up and go and make that journey.
Yeah. I knew her time was coming soon. And she actually died on my graduation party. I got the phone call the day.
Your great-gran?
My great-gran.
Yeah. And is that your maternal
great-grandmother?
Maternal great-grandmother.
Yeah.
So did you get any insight as to what your mum's upbringing was like?
From what I know, yeah. When I spoke to her when I was 18, I spoke to her.
Your mum?
And apparently her upbringing was just awful as well. Lots of abuse. And her mother actually taught her to lie about abuse, which is why I think she lied and hid abuse. If you're taught that from the day you're born, how do you break those chain links? And if you go back years and years, people didn't talk about this stuff, not openly, not bluntly, and you certainly didn't bring any discredit to your family.
Yep.
So it's a failure on multiple levels across society of being very secretive, not giving people the community and support they need. I think she was failed as a child to get the support that she needed, and that has long-term effects of, a psychological breakdown of sorts. She's still not well now. And why would she want to speak to me?
God, the pain, like the build-up of pain, and I'm just trying to put myself in your grandparents' position as well. That kind of, and you quite rightly say, that we do complicate it, but I can see that point of view as well, where like you would feel responsible in some way, and therefore are you pushing too far to then feel like you've got some kind of, I don't know, ability to be part of something that you might have played a part in. It's complicated. And it must be painful, and we carry this, don't we? We go through life carrying this stuff.
I think that's why she and I still don't speak, is I'm literally a reminder of the most tragic time of her life. And she, I'm sure, feels guilt. Survivor's guilt is one thing I had to learn to deal with too. Why was it my brother and not me? I was younger. I was a girl. I was more vulnerable technically. Why was it not me? But a really amazing thing happened, actually. I had a very, very difficult labor and delivery with my first child.
Okay.
4 days of labor, which was just not funny.
No.
By day 3.
No.
But she was born on my brother's birthday.
Your mum?
My daughter.
Oh, your daughter. So your daughter's born on your brother's birthday.
She sure was.
That's a twist of fate, isn't it?
And for me, it could be nothing astrological. Somebody might have the answer for that, but it brought a little bit of hope that I have a connection with him through that, and I get to celebrate her birthday and think of him on that day. And that's quite special.
It's extremely special, and I love the way that you look at it that way as well. I think, we've been talking for 7 minutes or something, and I'm like, your feeling, and you just came in the studio, Shannon, and as when I spoke to you on the phone, and as my wife said to me, "Oh, you've got to meet Shannon," she's like, I mean, my wife is a Geordie, and in England, northern girls are like, it's easy for them to just speak. And she was like, Shannon's just like, and the positivity that you've managed to ooze, and by that I don't just mean everything's great. I just mean you're smiley. Like you're a smiley person. You've got a warmth to you immediately, and listening to this is like, whoa.
The happiness is new, actually. That's something I've been working on for a really long time. And it took a good 8 years, really. 8 years to get where I am now.
Okay.
Instead of feeling broken, sad, and in pain.